Hello and welcome to Drill and Kill. That's correct, my friend. This is where we drill until we kill all the mistakes. So, without further ado, let's get on to our first problem. And here we go. 2/3 minus 5/8. Well, the first thing I want to do is go ahead and create a fraction box. So I will place it right there. And now I want to break or make 2/3, right? So I've got to break it into 3 parts, which means I'll draw 2 lines. So I've got 1 line right there and a second line right there, which gives me 3 parts. Now I get 2 out of the 3, so I'm going to color in 2 of the 3 parts and center that a little bit better. And there we go. All right, so now I am subtracting 5/8, but the problem is this is eighths that I'm subtracting, and this fraction box is cut into thirds. So the very first thing I must do is find my least common multiple. And so I'm going to take my 3 and my 8, and I'll put my 3 here and my 8 here. And now I just simply have to count by 3s and by 8s. But I am going to need a little bit more room, so I'm going to move this right over here. And here we go with 3s. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, and 24. Now I'll count by 8s. So I'm going to go 8, 16, and 24. And bam, right there, we have our least common multiple. So before I can subtract, I need to convert the fraction box and both of these fractions into 24ths. So let's go ahead and do that with the algorithm first, okay? So I'm going to write 2/3 and minus 5/8 right here. I have to multiply both of these by the giant 1, so I'm going to plug my 1 in here. And another giant 1 right here. And those are beautiful ones. Oh my goodness. All right. So for the 2/3, I need to multiply it by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 8 over 8. So I'm going to enlarge this so it's a little easier to write in there. And I'm going to go 8 over 8. And then for the 5/8, I'm going to multiply it by 1, 2, 3. So I'll multiply, and I'm going to enlarge it again, and multiply by 3 over 3. Okay? So now this is going to give me a new fraction, or actually 2 new fractions. So 2 times 8 is going to give me 16. And then 3 times 8 is going to give me 24. And that's exactly what I'm looking for. I want to create both of these fractions to have the denominator as 24, right? So now 5 times 3 is going to give me 15. And then I've got 8 times 3 is going to give me 24, right? So bam. So now, as you see, I've got common denominators, and that's exactly what I wanted. Let's come back up here to the illustration for a minute. And now, as you see, in order to make this fraction 24ths, right now I have 2/3, right? 1, 2 out of 3, and I need to get to 16 out of 24. Watch how I do that. I'm going to break this box going up and down into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 parts. So 8 parts means 7 lines. I'm going to make this big so I have more room. And here we go with 7 lines. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 lines should give me 8 parts, which means this whole thing should have 24 parts. Let's just double check. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times 1, 2, 3. 8 times 3 indeed is 24. So now I can look over here and go, okay, I need to take these, actually they're no longer 2/3. Now it's 8, 16 out of 24, right? Just like I have here, 16 24ths is represented in the green, right? But I have to subtract 15 of those little pieces. So let's go ahead and make it bigger again. And I'm going to just subtract by Xing out. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, which means this is the only one I have left. So I get 1 out of the 24. So 1/24 is your answer, and it's clear to see right there because all these are gone, right? Let's go ahead and take a look and finish our algorithm. So our algorithm looks like this. First of all, anytime you add or subtract fractions, in this case we're subtracting, first rule is you got to have common denominators, and then you don't add or subtract the denominators because that just tells us how many parts we've broken the box into, right? So you just write the 24 down there because this box here is cut into 24 parts, right? Then you simply, for the numerators, you do add or subtract. In this case, we're subtracting. So 16 minus 15 is going to give me exactly 1, and 1/24 agrees with our illustration right there, and that is beautiful. Hey, if you made a mistake anywhere along the way, no worries at all, my friend. Pause the video, fix your mistake. That is the fastest way to learn. And now, let's move on to the second problem of this video. And here we go. We have 3/4 minus 2/7. And the first thing I like to always do is go ahead and create my fraction box. So I'm going to do that right there. And now I got 3/4, so I've got to break this box into 4 parts. 4 parts means 3 lines, so I'm going to go 1, 2, and 3 lines. Gives me 4 parts. Now I get 3 out of those 4, so I'm going to color in 3 of the 4 parts. And my line's a little bit crooked, but it's close enough. You get 1, 2, 3 out of 4, and that is lovely, my friends. All right, so now I need to subtract the 2/7, but my problem is I have different denominators, right? And this is cut into 4ths, and I need to subtract 7ths. So I have to first find my least common multiple. Lovely. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and write the 4 right here and then the 7 right there because I got to find the denominators, right? The least common multiple for these denominators. So I'm going to go ahead and first start off by counting by 4s, and I'm going to go 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, and then 28. And then I'll count by 7s, and I'm going to go 7, 14, 21, 28, and bingo, right there, my friends, is our least common multiple. And that means I need to break this box right here into 28 parts. So now, this is the 4th, 3/4, so I need to break this box into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 parts. 7 parts means 6 lines, and let me go ahead and do that right now. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 lines will give me 7 parts. So I need to get 28 parts in all here, right? So I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times 1, 2, 3, 4. 7 times 4 is indeed 28. So I do have 28 parts. But now I still can't subtract because this is in 7ths. So I'm going to start my algorithm. I'm going to start it right here. 3/4 minus 2/7. And the first thing I've got to do is multiply by the big bad giant 1. That is correct, my friends. So let me go ahead and write this in there. And so for this first one, the 3/4, I need to multiply by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So the giant 1 of 7/7. And for this one down here, the 2/7, I need to multiply by 1, 2, 3, 4. So the giant 1 of 4/4. Lovely, my friends. All right, so that's going to change the look of the fractions, just like it changed the look of this, but it's going to keep the amount the same. Just like this stayed the same amount of green, but I cut it into smaller boxes. All right, so here we go. 3 times 7 is going to give me 21. And then 4 times 7 is going to give me 28. And that's exactly what I need, right? And that's, if you look here, this 3/4 has been converted into 21 28ths. Here I have 7, 14, 21 out of 28. And that is lovely, my friends. All right, so now let's go ahead and look at what we're going to subtract. 2 times 4 is going to give me 8. And then we've got 7 times 4, which is going to give me 28. And so now with this, now I know I can subtract. I'm going to subtract 8 of these 28s. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to cross these out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So now I've subtracted 8 of those bad boys. Let's see what we have left. I'm going to enlarge this so it's easier to write in here. And I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 out of the 28, right? So I got 13 28ths. And that, my friends, is your answer. However, we still need to finish our algorithm and make sure they both agree, right? So we'll do that right now. So here I am with my algorithm. I've converted the 3/4 into 21/8 and the 2/7 into 8/28. And then when you're adding or subtracting fractions, in this case we're subtracting, first rule is you got to have common denominators, right? And then you don't add or subtract the denominator because that just tells us how many parts we've cut this box into. So you simply drop the denominator down as part of your answer. And then you do add or subtract the numerators, right? In this case, we're subtracting. So we take 28 that's a 21. Don't get confused just because there's an 8 down there, right? 21 minus 8. And that, my friends, is going to give us 13. And look at this. Lo and behold, 13 28ths agrees with our illustration right here of 13 28ths. And that is always lovely, my friends. All right. Hey, if you made a mistake anywhere along the way, no worries at all. Pause that video, fix that mistake. That is the fastest way to learn. And now, let's move on to our third problem of this video. Alrighty, and here we go with our third problem of the day. 4/5 minus 3/6. Well, the first thing I want to do is go ahead and create my first fraction box, and I'll do that right here. And now I get 4 out of 5, which means I got to break this box here into 5 parts. 5 parts means 4 lines, so 1, 2, 3, and 4 lines will give me 5 parts. I get 4 out of those 5, so I'm going to color in 4 of the parts, right? So I'm going to go up here, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and bring this right around here, and center it, and bam, there we have 1, 2, 3, 4 out of 5 parts. Now I want to subtract 3/6 of that. The problem is this box is broken into fifths, and I need to subtract sixths, right? That means I've got to find my LCM, my least common multiple, and that is always very fun, right? So here we go. I'm going to count by 5s and by 6s. So I'm going to do 5s here, 6s here, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, and 30. And then for 6s, I got 6, 12, 18, 24, and then 30. And bam, right there we have our least common multiple, my friends. 30 is the least common multiple. Thank you very much. All right, so now the next thing I want to do is break this fraction here, this fraction box, into 30ths, right? And I've already got 5s, so I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm going to break it into 6 parts going up and down. 6 parts means 5 lines. So I'm going to draw 5 lines here. And as you notice, I made this bigger. It's easier to draw the lines in when it's bigger. So 5 lines, and here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 lines will give me 6 parts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 times 6 is 30, and that gives me 30 parts, and that is lovely. All right, so now I still have a little bit of a dilemma because even though I have this box cut into 30ths, this is still in the form of a sixth, right? 3/6. So I need to change this. What I'm going to do is actually start my algorithm here, and I'm going to write 4/5 minus 3/6. And then I'm going to have to convert these fractions into 30ths, right? So I'm going to multiply by the giant 1. Thank you so kindly. All right, and here we go. So I multiply giant 1, another giant 1, and bam. All right, so now for this first one, I'm going to multiply by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the giant 1 of 6/6. So I'm going to go 6/6. And then for this one, I'm going to multiply by the giant 1 of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5/5. So I'll plug the 5/5 here, and then I'm going to just multiply straight across. 4 times 6 is going to give me 24, and then 5 times 6 is going to give me 30. And just as a side note, if you notice, I got 24 30ths, and here I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, then 12, then 18, then 24. So I have 24 30ths, right? And that agrees with this, and that's pretty cool, right? Okay, so now let's move on to this one. I got 3 times 5, which is going to give me 15. And then I've got 6 times 5, which is going to give me 30, right? And bam, right there. So now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to subtract the 15 30ths here, right? So I've got 24 30ths here. I got to cross out 15 of these bad boys right there. So I'm going to enlarge this a little bit so I have a little bit more room. And let's go ahead and cross out 15 of those. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15. So then these are what's left, right? So let's go ahead and count those up. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I get 9 30ths. And that right there, my friends, is your answer, right? This is the illustration. Let's go ahead and take a look at the algorithm and see how that works, and hopefully it better agree with our illustration here. So here we go. When you're adding or subtracting fractions, we're subtracting right now. The first rule is you got to have common denominators, and bam, we do. And then you never add or subtract the denominators because that just tells us how many parts we've broken these boxes into. So I'm going to just drop the 30th right away, right? And then you do add or subtract the numerators, right? So I've got 24 minus 15. I'm going to just do this like this with borrowing. So 4 minus 5 you can't do, so I'm going to borrow. I'm going to turn this into 1 and turn this into 14. And then you got 14 minus 5 is going to give you 9, right? And then I'll write my 9 in there. And then 1 minus 1 zeroes out, so you get 9 30ths. And lo and behold, lovely, that agrees with our illustration right here. Hey, if you made a mistake anywhere along the way, no worries at all, my friend. Pause that video, fix that mistake. That is the fastest way to learn. Until next time, which is going to be in about a second, have a great day, and let's move on to problem number 4. And here we go with the fourth and final problem of this video. 5/6 minus 4/9. So the very first thing I want to do is go ahead and create my fraction box here, right? And I've got 5 out of 6, so I got to make 6 parts. 6 parts means 5 lines, so I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 lines gives me 6 parts. Now I get 5 out of those 6, so I'm going to color in 5 of the 6 parts, and my lines are a little bit off, but oops, let me just make this a little bit better. And I'm going to enlarge that so it fits a little better. We're a little off here, but it'll work. Okay, so now I want to subtract 4/9. The problem is I have to have common denominators, right? This box is broken into 6. I can't take any ninths away because I don't have it, right? So the first thing I got to do is find my least common multiple. Thank you so kindly. So I'm going to use the 6 and the 9. So I'm going to write 6 right here and 9 right there, my friends. And then I'm going to count by 6s and by 9s, right? I need a little more room, so I'm going to go 6, 12, and 18. And then I'm going to count by 9s, 9, 18, and bam, right there, 18 is my least common multiple. So that means for this 5, 6, for this box here, I got to break this box into 1, 2, 3 parts. So I'm going to enlarge it so I got a little more room. And 3 parts means 2 lines. So I go 1, 2, and now as you see I have 3 parts, 1, 2, and 3. And 1, 2, 3 times 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 equals 18. And that, my friends, is my least common multiple, right? But now I still have a little bit of a problem here because I am subtracting ninths, and I can't take ninths away from 30ths. So I need to convert this fraction too. So I'm going to start with the algorithm and just write the algorithm here. I'm going to go 5, 6 minus 4/9. And now I've got to multiply both these by the giant 1 so that I can convert these fractions, right? I went crazy there for a second and didn't know what I was going to say, but then thankfully I remembered it. Okay, so here we go. Giant 1 right there, and then I'm going to multiply another giant 1 right there. And for this top one, the 5, 6, I'm going to multiply by 1, 2, 3, so the giant 1 of 3 over 3. Lovely. And for this one, 4/9, I'm going to multiply by the giant 1 of 1, 2, so 2 over 2. And that, my friends, is super duper cool. All right, so here we go. I'm going to take 5 times 3, and that's going to give me 15. And then I'm going to take 6 times 3, and that's going to give me 18. And now if you notice here, I've got to shrink this a little bit. 15/18, that's represented right here. There are 15 green that are filled in, and then 18 altogether. So I got 1, 2, 3 times 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which is 15. And then this row would give you the total 18. So 15/18, my algorithm so far agrees with my illustration. And now I'm going to do this one, and I'm going to take 4 times 2 is going to give me 8. And then I've got 9 times 2 is going to give me 18, right? And that is lovely. Okay, so now I can subtract these because these are all, both in 18ths, right? So I'm going to take 8 of those 18ths, and I'm going to do that just by crossing these out. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And so these are all gone, right? And now I can just count these that are not gone, and that's how many I get. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So I have 7 out of 18. And that right there, my friends, is your answer, right? However, that's just the illustration, right? So we need to do our algorithm and make sure that it agrees with our illustration here. So let's go ahead and do that right now. So I'm going to draw my line here. And then remember the rules, right? First of all, whenever you're adding or subtracting fractions, you have to have common denominators, right? And then you never add the denominator or subtract the denominator. In this case, we're subtracting because that just tells us how many parts we've cut this box into, right? So I'm going to drop the 18th, And so we have 18ths. And then you do add or subtract. In this case, we're subtracting the numerators, right? So I'm going to take 15 minus 8. And sure enough, that is going to give me 7. And 7/18 agrees with our illustration right over there of 7/18. Hey, that is beautiful, my friends. Hey, if you made a mistake anywhere along the way, no worries at all, my friends. Pause that video, fix that mistake. That is the fastest way to learn. Until next time, I hope you have a fantastic day.